Board of Assessors, plus applicant capital item requests. So Jeff or whomever.
Good sit back, so.
You need the big chair. You need the big chair. Oops, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nice.
That's 141.
Just to get things started, I assume everybody knows Charlotte, Cynthia, and myself, Jeff. Just make sure we're all rated.
I'm Ann Hurd, I'm the newest member of the advisory
Yes,
board, and
yes.
I haven't had a chance to meet you, so it's good to do that.
That's good. You don't have one. Oh, there it is.
I normally sit with my back to the camera, I'm camera shy.
And Jeff is our chair, Jeff Nichols.
Okay, Jeff.
And I am Charlotte Johnson, member of the Board of Assessors.
Okay.
And this
Cynthia
wonderful lady.
Ledbury, assistant assessor. Okay. And
David
David.
Manzel.
Hi.
He's chief assessor.
Okay.
Since you probably, I don't know how many of you have done this with us, but we normally go over our budget. Those figures you all have, let's ask. Do you have this?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, we do.
So,
Yes.
You all have it is all I'm asking.
We
The
have
bottom
it.
line number we have is 143,196, so just to make sure we're all.
That may differ from what you have because the COLA.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So what's
the final number?
So, right, that's
So we
correct.
have 143,196, so
And
yours is
above
probably
that,
a
we
little
have
less than.
939.
Yep.
So you guys probably have one for,
Yeah.
209.
We have one
Right.
for 2095, which is without the cost.
right,
So-
exactly.
Okay, so ours does have the COLA
Yeah.
embedded, okay, okay.
We can either go through each line item with you, or how, it's at your pleasure, how would you like to?
Well, I think, why don't we go through each line item? I have a question mark by line 5200, purchase of services. And I'm not exactly sure, I think when we were discussing it, when we were just going over it as a board, that came up as we might want a little more explanation of that line.
So-
Yeah, I think what I'm remembering is when we looked at the backup notes and justification around that line, the detail looked very similar to the detail we were provided for fiscal year 18. So we were trying to understand whether the scope of work was just identical and that's why it was the same, or whether this was just like inadvertently.
Well, it
Okay, I
isn't
think you're
quite the
speaking
same.
to wages.
No,
No.
you said 5,200.
It's 5,200 purchase of services, and it
That's
isn't quite the same.
RRG.
It's gone up a little bit.
No, but I'm talking about
Oh,
this is identical.
oh, yes,
That's-
yes, that's right.
And the increase is 5.0000%, which is.
We hire a company called RRG. David is
You would be,
a member of that group. And the purchase of the services is for that company's services, which David does for us. It's a 3-year contract. And this is the end of the 3rd year. As a matter of fact, we're putting out another, we do it in 3-year increments. We're putting out another contract, not that you need to know this, but we're putting out another contract for the next 3 years. But this is the 3rd of the last 3 years of their contract.
And
So
the
the-
step is 5% each year, or?
Cynthia,
Okay, so RRG, we have to go out to bid.
Right, sure.
the history has been only RRG can satisfy everything in our request for proposals, because they do everything à la carte, without line item extra costs. So they
Sure.
usually are the only ones who apply, even though we put it out to
Right, no,
a few. So the FY18 contract is the only data we know right now. We're not out
Ah.
to bid yet.
right.
So we buffered that by 5%, because we have to go out to bid. We
Sure.
have to get
Okay.
services statements back in, cost.
And that is historically, Joe, approximately, we have no idea, but it's approximately what we see every year anyway.
The first year of the contract was which fiscal year?
Excuse me.
16,
So fiscal 16 was the first year.
yep, and then 17, and then 18 now is the last one.
This is, 18 is the last of the 3
And
years.
the actual in 16 is 67,762. I'm reading that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Budget for this year is 73,900. And do we expect to hit that actual? I guess the year's over already.
Budget for 18 is 75,400.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is, the budget that they're submitting is for 19.
So we're in a kind of a tough spot. We have to go out for bid,
Sure.
right? And if all along the increases at RRG was anywhere between 3 or 5% or whatever, we have to decide on a percent. And if it's too small and the bid comes in for a cost where we can't cover,
Right.
so,
If in fact we overestimated the actual contract price, that amount would come back to the
Right,
town
we
anyway, so
understand.
you know how that works.
No, we have a history of several years with these guys, and we know what the increments are going to be per year. So we believe this to be on the money.
On the actual expenditure, is this a lump sum, or is it a function of some hours or something? In other words, if you budget
How do we
something,
pay you?
is actual going to be
Fixed
equal?
cost every
It's
month.
a fixed cost.
It's a monthly fee.
It's just a fixed cost, so if we see this in the budget, it's going to happen.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I'm noticing from, if I'm doing my math
I mean, I don't know
right,
what the budget will be, but.
if I'm doing my math right, from actual 2017 to budget 2018, that's a 9.9% increase. And then going from.
Well, no, they're, yes and no.
Well, are there other items in this purchase of
Yes.
services?
Yeah, but that's, you gotta understand, purchase of service is one line item, but RRG is obviously 90%
Biggest.
normally.
Right.
But we have normally maybe 1 or 2 small line items in the purchase of service.
so also
as
in
well.
P&S, we have copier contracts. We have to put public notices out throughout the year. And then there is a personal property outsource reserve for discovery and list. So in fiscal 19, we're in reval. At 19, we get confused here. In 19, we're in reval.
Okay.
So everything,
It's done in-house.
we have to at least hold a placeholder in case we need to outsource personal property. It depends on who our rep is. Our rep has retired from the DOR. And when a particular rep was with us, and I forgot his name, he was adamant that you had to outsource every so many years, just for a fresh look on discovery and list of personal property to get out there, the machinery and equipment used in the conduct of business. So we're not sure. Our rep hasn't been assigned yet. The other rep has retired and gone back to a town, actually, instead of from the DOR to a town. We put that in there because we had a rep prior to this one who has passed away, but he wanted a fresh discovery list every couple of years. Every other reval, he wanted a fresh look, and he really pushed for that because he felt that more accounts and more new businesses would be discovered, bringing in more revenue. So we have a line item here as a placeholder for that because we don't know yet. Our rep hasn't been assigned.
Can I just ask, do we have copies of this stuff that you're referring to? Because the thing that I'm really struggling with is that we have a purchase of services line item that's almost $80,000. And unless I'm missing it, we have no detail in our packets about what's included in that. So I'm really,
Right, so we have some breakouts.
no, what I'm asking is, we don't have that, right?
No,
Okay.
yes.
Because that would be really helpful to provide, because let me just explain. So what we get, we had this, which from what I understood was literally last year's rationale for why you needed more hours. So I'm trying to understand your budget.
No, what needs to get explained,
Okay.
that page that you just opened to, our conversion for our software, our old software company has gone to the great software place in the sky. So, the Department of Revenue requires us to have a level of a platform that conforms to Department of Revenue regulations as to how values are taken in the town and reported and collected. So, we investigated all the potential options. Some of those are Patriot, Vision, okay. The least expensive is what is known as Tyler. Tyler is taking over the old CAMA,
Communities.
Thank
Right, I know
you.
CAMA is
Right.
Is the state.
CAMA is gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were informed when we selected that vendor based on the cost that we were going to be among the first to be involved in the conversion, and that was supposed to be for 18.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Does that make
Because I'm like,
sense?
this sounds very familiar to
Doesn't
what we heard
it?
last year.
Yes.
Okay.
And I
What-
lobbied really hard for that, because we're looking along with some systems up there that can get a little concerning.
And it's our oldest computer, and all of that software for CAMA is on that one computer, and if that computer dies, we're not exactly sure what to do. So, what we had to do is we are going to be returning,
It's already gone back.
I think it's already gone back, hasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. That amount of money that was requested for 18 for that conversion, and instead, it'll be in
Sure.
19.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we actually have a placeholder, folks, end of third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter to do this. In other words, they've given us a time slot in 19 now. We were trying to stay out of 19 because of the rebuild, and we didn't want to do both, but we have no other option at this point.
So just, I don't mean to sound clueless, but I think I am here.
That's okay.
So in the budget request for fiscal 19, you're requesting 79,175 for purchase services. So what 3 or 4 things are in that? I mean, obviously the software contractor.
The
what you're talking
software
about.
contractor, a contract for the copier, a public notice amount of $300, which, because we have to put out public
Yeah.
notice throughout the year, and a personal property in case the DOR wants us to do that, due to the fact that it's our revalve year of 5280.
Well,
So
you
if
have
you
to
take
do it.
73, 395, 200 for the copier, 300 for the notices,
Okay.
5280 for the personal property, you come up with the 79,175.
Okay, thank you, that's helpful.
And
Research
what we were
does.
discussing,
No, you're not.
what we were discussing about the IT conversion is in labor, so it's not part of
Part of that.
purchase of
Right.
service.
Right,
So is that part of stipend or wages?
Wages.
wages.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, to us, this is like a car wash. We go through this every single year, we understand the stuff that's contained in it, and it's okay. You'll see us again next year, and you'll say, oh, I remember that.
Just like Brian just did. This sounds familiar. Okay, thank you very much.
Whereas last year under purchase of services, we only had a few less items, in other words, so it's the 75 to 79, for instance. is not just RRG's, in other words, just their contract.
So the decrease in software support is a function of the new software coming in?
That's 1 year.
Okay.
That is a deal, okay?
Okay.
On signing up for this initial period, the transition period from ending of CAMA to the beginning of Tyler. That's going to be considerably higher next year.
Your
Okay.
second page, I did put a line item to describe that. The expenditure notes and justification.
Okay, yeah.
That's our
Yes,
second,
yes,
I
I
don't,
see.
yeah, okay.
Just so you won't be shocked.
So there's
when
a
you see that go up.
one-time decrease as we transition from CAMA, which is really hardly even in maintenance mode, to Tyler. So for 19, it's really low, and I'll tell you what's in software support in a minute. It's two things.
Okay.
One is the very minimal fee for the old CAMA on its way out.
Yeah.
Because there is
These
no
days,
support.
they're not.
The crash.
That's right, they're giving it, we're paying for nothing. is what-
Tyler is under a three-way contract brought in by Mass IT from the state.
Uh-huh.
And they put in a bid for all communities that were in CAMA for the incentive to get geographically in the area. And so they basically matched the CAMA, the current CAMA fee we paid the year before and the year before. Tyler is matching that for at least the first 5 years, and that's that number, 3855 on that justifications page. That starts in 20, because you're ramped up, you're converted, hopefully, and things are going well. And that Tyler, 3855 is the annual fee for everything, maintenance, because CAMA was basically free for 20-some,
20 plus years.
5+ months, 28 years, CAMA was basically free from the state to the towns that would use it.
Just to
First it
keep,
started at 1,200, then lately it went up to 3,500 a year.
if you were to go with some of the other competitors, Patriot mentioned and Vision is another one, they would be, instead of the 38, call it 4,000 round figures, they'd be up at 8 to 10, 12,000,
Plus conversion,
No,
plus
no.
conversion,
It's
so.
a total bill of about $30,000.
you know, the first year and stuff, so.
Right.
It's a
So
lot.
this
A
is
lot more.
not only the cheapest we could find, but it's also the easiest to convert to for Cynthia. It'll take some, but it's also happens to be the friendliest, if you will.
And it's under the guidance of Mass IT.
Okay.
So there's that oversight
Okay,
to help make it work, and that the wrinkles get, you know, ironed out on the conversions and things. So the first contract is a three-way, Mass IT, the Department of Revenue, the town, and Tyler.
And then that will
And
transition
then
to
that
a
will,
larger burden. for the
and then
town.
it'll be a direct contract a couple years after that. So the one-time fee for CAMA in 19 is only $380. Then it'll go back up to the CAMA type, 3855 from the state. What else is in, the 1274 is also, the finance department lobbied for the assessors to have their own Vadar account. And that's $894 a year. So midway through 18, we're all, there's like 2 accounts and 3 people, 3 departments, 3 entities, at least 3 needing.
And then we
you know.
discovered it froze our machines if we tried to jump in and out. So it was
It was
untenable.
It was hopeless.
Yeah.
So the 1274 is the one-time fee, 380 for defunct CAMA, and 894 for Vadar, which will continue. Assessors do personal exemptions through Vadar, batch jobs for real estate abatements, vehicle excise abatements. We're using a lot of the abatement exemption areas of Vadar.
That's, they don't know what Vadar is.
But the tax collection software,
Yep.
Well, does anybody else have any questions? Ken or Ann?
Yeah, and you might have already covered this when you were explaining about how the transition that you expected to happen last year is going to happen this year. So for the GIS budget, last year we budgeted, this is the last line item, last year we budgeted 3,000, and it looked like, at least as of the end of December, only 500 had been spent. So are you anticipating
Good
spending
question.
the, okay,
And that's different, that has nothing to do with the conversion.
okay.
And what happens there is, Cartographics is our GIS vendor, and we need.
That's mapping.
No,
by the way.
not that part.
And that's what you're at. Oh, I'm sorry. So,
Geographic information system.
No,
when we
we're
go out
used to
for
the
full map
alphabet soup.
updates, full tax map updates, for instance, we will in the spring because it's very busy. You have developments going up on Hudson Road, you have Bush Mill in Maine, it is busy, a lot of lot divisions going on now. What I have done is 3,000 covers 500 for maintenance and a 2,500 for a map update. There are years that I push back with Cartographics and I don't put out a map update. If there's only 4 lots to be updated, I don't feel it's a $2,500 effort. Well, they get back to me because they're a big entity now and a lot of bigger towns and cities use them and they just roll along like a contract. They want an annual or a monthly fee, whether it has peaks and balances or not, dips and peaks. So this year, we didn't have that many lot splits. And I did email the president, Franco, and I said, you know, I know you're not going to be happy with us again, but Bolton is a small town and I don't feel it's warranted to go out for that. And he said, but you get the new query manager and you get this and you get that. And I said, I do realize that the other goodness things come with it. But, you know, I check and it's not a major upgrade. It's a maintenance upgrade of the viewer and the query manager. But once every 3 years when things were slow, I balked and I said, we won't be doing an update. And that money goes back at the end of the year when the accountant pulls back the money from the accounts, the extra monies. So that's what's happening this year.
We do plan on doing it this year,
For 19.
19.
Yeah, we have a lot. Now it's well spent. We got 3 or 4 developments. We'll get on the latest query manager. We're living just fine for the 6 months lag in the new query manager or whatever. So about twice or 3 times in the last 10 years, we haven't had enough work to warrant that kind of money. So.
Okay.
The other thing that's important is that the level of mapping is also directed by, God bless them, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Revenue. We don't get to do what we want to do. We have to have a certain level of accuracy and maintain a certain level in the mapping system. And so we're kind of doing the best we can to play with what we have to do. But it really is kind of, now we've got to do it, or we're going to have somebody say, we're not playing the
A good
game.
example of that is when they did the 911 geographic
Oh, God.
mapping across the state for the new 911. There was a very heavy push from the state and Cartographics to get your update in no matter what, because they were doing the 911 fabric throughout the entire state for other purposes, 911. And every parcel needed an identification in the way that they were formatting that. And so that's an example
Right.
of you know, so how the state gets involved. It is called level 1, 2, 3, or 4 compliance. We're at level 4 compliance for GIS. So Bolton is,
Where we're supposed to be.
we're at the highest level of compliance for GIS.
Well, it looks like you came about as close to level funding
As we could.
as you could, sure, right.
We try to keep it,
And one of the things I want to point out, this may sound a little self-serving, but that's the way it goes. The other alternative vendors, one of the things that we had to consider, we all live, well, not all, but the board lives in the town. We know what the financial situation is. All of the other vendors have their own inspection team. Jeff and I go out every Tuesday between April 15th and Columbus Day to inspect every house once. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts requires us to do this once every 9 years. We're going out and we're doing this between 5:30 and 8:30 or until dark, or the car breaks down, or whatever. But we've been doing this, in my case, for 13 years, and in Jeff's case, for over 20 years. We don't charge for this, and we never have charged for this. We would not have that option with the other vendors. They will not accept us doing
The assessment.
the inspections.
Yeah.
And the cost of that, was that $30 a house or something?
Yeah, 30 a car.
$30 a house.
Yeah.
And you know how many
$30
properties
a
we
car.
have in town. So that was another compelling reason to do what we did, but also, just so you know, not are we trying to hold down costs, but we're free. So as a service to the town. So there's nothing else we can squeak out, is what
Yeah.
we're trying to say.
No, I understand.
Well, we thank you for your efforts, and of course, presumably your return on the money we give you is pretty good.
We hope to be remembered with a plaque on a door someday. I think that's about all we're going to get. But we do understand the fiscal situation that we're in.
All right, so thank you very much.
Oh, no, you're all done with the budget, but I have a
We
couple
have
of
a
things.
couple of things
Oh,
that
Are
we
you-
need.
If we're done with the budget.
Yes.
I
Do you want to
don't-
vote on the budget? or you
Well,
want-
we-
Oh, you need to vote on it?
Let's vote on the budget, yes.
Yes, please go
All right,
ahead.
I will-
Then I have a
Did you have any
couple.
questions?
I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget?
I'll second it.
No, I'm
Also
entertaining the
moved.
I'll
motion.
make the motion, I'll move somebody up and second it.
All right, all those in favor of approving the assessor's budget of 143,196, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None, hearing none, it is approved unanimously.
Thank you.
Now, Jeff, you had something?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. First of all, I don't know if you know what our overlay account is, but that is monies that we set aside to pay for abatements, things that, the costs that we incur every year. And when the abatements or any encumbrances are finally finished for that year, then if we have any money left over, we give it back to you folks. So we have a couple of years to return to you. And that number, if you have your pencils or pens, is 101,984.47. So 101,984.47. We're giving back.
Already put it in the budget. You'll see
It's
it.
already there, but I think you people should know
We
that
have, and
number.
we are, that's terrific.
It's
You'll see
also
it on the
been
next
given to
update.
Dawn, and she, it's a fait
That makes
accompli.
us even more reasonable,
Oh, yeah.
doesn't it, Donna?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I just wanted to make sure you folks.
You just
have
earned
it.
your keep.
yeah, definitely.
And then we do this every year. We try to give back, we try to close out at least 1 year every year. So it may not be possible every year.
Where the statute is run, in other words, where any abatements, if they were turned down by us and going to the appellate tax board, we have to maintain those
Yeah, you
funds.
can hold that back.
Okay, and where the statute is run, that's where the money's coming from.
Okay.
And the last thing, we are in the end of January. This is very preliminary. In other words, David is working on assessments for 19. To give you a very broad and general prognosis, if you will, I think we'd be looking at around a 2 or 3% increase in residential for 19. That's down a little bit from last year, just so you know. I think it's down 1 or 2%. So, well, it is at least going in the right direction. It's not as big a number as we've seen in the last couple of years. So, I know things are tight. This will probably keep it tight, but at least 2 to 3% is
It's going,
something, but it's
at
not.
least it's going in the right direction. We have seen a decline in some years.
Yeah, it's not nothing to stand up and rave about, so we'll have to continue doing, and you folks will have to continue what you do to keep it tight, I suppose. But just so you know, we're looking at, it's very preliminary, but we're looking at around 2 or 3% increase
That's good,
for the town.
good to know.
When does that get finalized?
Excuse me?
When does the valuation get finalized?
This year will be a little earlier, hopefully.
Because it's a
Because it's a
revalue.
reval year, so hopefully September-ish.
See, we're trying to do, see, the year ends June 30th, so we're trying to estimate what's gonna happen between now and June 30th for you. And it's a bit of a crapshoot. you
He's
know.
got 5 months in.
But is the valuation as of 1/1/18?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's
So-
really preliminary.
Yeah.
But we try to give you something every time we meet,
Yeah.
so that you can understand where the town may have to go for the following year. That's not our decision, we just give you the facts and figures. And that's all we have.
Any more questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you next year.
Brought these down in case you haven't seen them or don't have one. But, so I put these together on a yearly basis, just kind of explaining.
Somebody put that on our website too.
Yeah, I put it on the website
Thank you.
Thank you.
on a yearly basis.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Sure, thank you. The next items are advisory committee business. We have an update from Ninochka.
Do you want me to come up or just talk?
Only if you want.
All right, I'll stay back here. I'm camera shy as well. We did, when I was inputting the Council on Aging budget, I realized that since we had the new phone system, they have a phone bill that we've been paying out of Town Hall for FY18, so I figured it'd be more appropriate to have that come out of the COA budget. So I wanted to take $485 out of Town Hall's telephone and put it in COA's telephone, just so you have a better, you can track COA's telephone use on its own, rather than lumped into Town Hall.
Do you know which line number it would go into?
Yeah, it's 192, is it 52? Let me see. 1925340.
That's where it is now?
Yeah. So in that 5,500, or I mean, it's $485, or you could do 500. I don't know. You want to just make it the actual amount?
Sorry, I realize I'm not asking a question clearly. So it's gonna come out of Town Hall's budget, go into Council on Aging's?
Yep.
So you're gonna have to, you're proposing to actually add a new little category in Council on Aging's budget? Because they don't, I'm not seeing a telephone.
Oh, they don't have a telephone? Oh, yeah, because theirs was always lumped into Town Hall, so they'll need an actual telephone line item.
Okay,
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
makes sense.
Makes sense.
I just figured it made more sense to do it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if you have to vote on that, or if it's just, I mean,
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so.
It's just a housekeeping.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to have, and we'll be voting on everything at some point anyway.
Well,
so
exactly,
they're covered.
exactly. Okay, good. And just, you know, kind of giving you an update of what budgets you haven't seen yet, what we're still waiting on. Let's see, so moderator, I don't even know if you guys are, I mean, I can't imagine you'd want to see Doug for any reason, but, so that has to be voted on.
Right.
Advisory's budget has to be voted on, the reserve fund. Human resources, and I believe she's coming in 2 to 3 weeks.
Right, and the fire department.
Fire, that's a big one.
Yes, that's a very big one.
So I would like to see them come back sooner rather than later.
Well, I just sent some questions, I emailed some questions to John.
Has he gotten back to you?
Well, I just sent them out this morning, and I know it usually takes them a couple of days, but I suggested that we talk on the phone.
Yeah.
Because he and I tried to meet last week, and it was just, every time he was
Right.
available, I wasn't, and so on.
Because I'm concerned that we don't really have a handle on that budget at all.
No, we
At all.
don't.
Right. So I'd hate for it to go into March and, you know,
Right. Right,
because, you know, everything affects our bottom line, so.
yes, indeed.
So that's on the, dispatch, we're just waiting, that should be pretty soon. Snow and ice, you guys just need to vote on it. Debt, I don't want to do any, you know, I basically put everything in the debt service, all capital, you know, anything over 100,000, I threw in borrowing and put it in the debt service. But if there's some that are going to be pulled or they're not going to borrow, I mean, at some point we'll have to tighten that up, because I don't want to just leave stuff in there
Sure.
just to have it in there. And then health insurance, they expect in a couple weeks. It's not going to be pretty.
No, it won't be pretty, I know.
No. So that's kind of where we stand as far as what budgets we have left. The overlay was great news. So they're looking at, they didn't mention, but kind of smoothing out the amount that they turn back. So it should be approximately the same. You know, instead of getting one big lump and then a little bit the following year, you know, try to smooth it out and we'll get a chunk every
Well, a
year.
lot of that depends on whether or not there are appeals.
Well, a lot of the stuff is old
Oh.
that they probably should have turned back beforehand, but, so rather than just giving us back that big chunk, which I think is a better idea, to have a little bit.
Sure.
Because we'll spend it all and then we'll have nothing. So I think that was about it, unless you guys have any questions for me as far as budgeting or.
It's more just a timing question, like, and I guess we'll talk about this when Brad and Connie are back, but is there a certain date by which we have to have certain things done from your perspective?
My personal feeling is that you should make all your decisions by like March 1st. I mean, and that way you've got the month to work on statements and, you know, and we can do a little housekeeping stuff. But I think as far as large decisions, there's no reason you can't get everything done in February. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just I'm thinking that there's like a few looming issues. There's all the capital stuff that we haven't voted on.
Well, the capital's a
There's-
big, huge piece of this puzzle.
Sure.
And I'd
There's
like
the
to
fire
see
department.
it sooner, because that affects, you know, so you can't really get a sense of where we're at until we get the capital. So I'd rather see the capital sooner than
Have we
later.
got all the requests in, or are we still waiting for some of these budgets that are hanging out there in terms of recommendations?
We have everything into capital planning, as far as I know. I hate to see any capital item come in
Wait.
now. I mean,
Yeah.
my feeling is if it's not in now,
It's not.
it's not.
Right.
It shouldn't be accepted.
Then that's how, so the capital planning committee the other night, they come up with recommendations of what to fund by fiscal year? Or
Yeah,
how-
so
I'm not
they-
quite sure how that works.
I
They
believe,
prioritize.
right,
Yeah.
so they'll get all the requests for 19, and they've also had a running, so every year they'll have a running total, and they'll look at the 12 items we have and say, this one is, you know, must have, and kind of rank them that way. And then you guys will look at this and say, okay, what are we vote, you know, passing, what are we not gonna recommend? I think it'll all go to the Board of Selectmen. I don't think you guys can pull any.
No, I don't think we
I
can.
don't think so. I'm not sure how that works, but you
Do you,
could.
do you know
You
about
can
that?
vote against it, you could,
We
you
can recommend against it.
can recommend
But
against it.
it's
Right, they would all
your
vote.
board has the ultimate
Yeah,
authority.
you know, I've been on the advisory committee
I know.
enough times where I've had it yelled in my ear, it's the selectmen's budget.
Right.
right? That's the first.
But I would
thing.
hope, yeah, if the selectmen,
Right.
if you had all advisory members voting no on an item, I would hope selectmen would look at that and go,
Yeah,
there's probably a reason they're all voting no.
yeah. You know, the selectmen are the last ones to get their fingerprints on it,
Right.
you know, when they close the budget. And, you know, again, being on advisory, I can tell you stuff happens.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I know of right now or think would happen at the last minute. But, you know, back to your question about what if you don't want to put something there, you can just recommend that it not be part of the budget. And if it's put in the budget anyway, then you're going to be asked to give an opinion that goes out on the warrant, and you can, you know, give your opinion a second time there.
Right.
So the process is that the capital planning committee evaluates everything and comes up with recommendations. That comes
We're
back
fairly
us.
new to this capital planning process.
Okay, I just,
That's the plan.
They prioritize things, and
Okay.
we decide what we can afford. That's the
Okay.
way I understand it.
That's the way I
Okay, that makes sense,
All right?
okay.
Yeah, it'd be great to have it all, but,
Yeah.
Yeah, wishes for horses, better than would ride.
right. So we've got.
Knowing those time fences, that's helpful. But if somebody owes us information, i.e. the fire department, they need to know those as well. 'Cause if we-
So we've got
if we get
1.3 million.
Where I am now, if I don't have knowledge of cost benefit or answered
Well, you know,
question,
I'll send,
I have
I'll
to vote
send,
against.
send John
That's the way I
another
feel.
email reminding him that we
Time
need,
is the essence.
yeah, that it's getting close.
How much time does he need, or give him what you think is a reasonable
Right.
time? But
Well, if you want your budget passed, you should be able to
Yes.
present it and advocate for it and give backup for it.
And I have to say, their presentation of the capital planning committee was 180 degrees different, not different, but better than
Oh,
what they
good.
provided us.
Yeah,
Good.
except for that drop zero.
Well, hey, we got all excited about that, right? We thought that was real.
Oh, that would be good, yeah.
getting it
We were
on
hyperventilating, we saw that.
What a bargain.
eBay.
So you didn't get a
It really is a
sense
stronger
of when capital
presentation.
planning would get this recommendation to you?
No. So, because I'm just thinking about the month of February.
Right,
We actually have a lot of different things to try to finish during the month of February.
yeah.
Because we have to discuss the fire department's staffing proposal
Yes.
in addition to the capital stuff.
Well, to me, this all goes hand in hand, and it's like, there's a whole bunch of stuff, so,
Plus you got a school vacation in February.
right,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
yep.
And you gotta figure a snow day.
My church. Yeah, we're like,
But, you know, in a lot of respects, you're way ahead of where advisory
We
usually
are,
is.
because we were meeting twice a week.
Yeah,
yeah, which
So-
I think was great.
you know, it's, you know, now you've got the runway to deal with some curves thrown your way, and you've got the manpower to go dance on people's heads if you need to, in order to, you know, get the additional information you need, as opposed to just, you know, planning for the next meeting and stuff like that, but.
The other thing I think was extraordinarily helpful, I know Ted, you and I talked about it, is, you know, the pre-meetings with the departments, where we
Yeah.
actually unpacked their budget and had a conversation, so it raised our level of understanding.
Right, so you're better prepared.
So we're better prepared, because there's always a tendency to provide smoke and mirrors, and you're sitting there and saying, okay. It's much better deep dive,
Right.
it's very positive.
I don't know if you're gonna be revisiting the police budget, or if that's just staying the way it is.
I think we might.
After watching
that
that
one more time.
Yeah, I think we haven't approved it yet, have we? I don't
No.
think so.
The
No.
police, yes.
The police
Oh,
has
yeah.
been,
Oh, it has
But
been
I think,
approved.
Police.
there have been some changes in terms of their decision to get a,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, so we really just need to look at that based on what else we've got cooking.
The decision to do what?
My understanding, the Board of Selectmen, they were able to find money to buy the truck that they needed to replace the,
Then they shouldn't get the truck in 19. They
well,
should
I
only
don't
get
know,
one
and
truck.
that's the
Well,
question I
that's
think we should
legitimate
consider.
question, it's
Right.
one I
You know,
asked.
because
But
we had approved that
I
on
mean,
the
that's what
basis
advisory
of.
I
approved.
think you
One
need
truck.
to wait till after Thursday's selectmen's meeting before you do anything.
That's fine,
I
but
think
it's
there's
just, it's
gonna
just,
be-
it's
there's
just
gonna be
something out
new
there we need to look
information
at.
Okay.
Ah,
Good to know.
stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
But I just thought it was a change, and we just should look back and say, okay, I made it, get it, check.
What's the best way to
Just wait.
Just
To
wait.
hear about said news.
Watch the
Watch the
selectmen's
meeting.
meeting.
That would be a first.
What?
Oh, you mean you don't,
I don't watch.
oh, it's much better than a lot of what's
I
on.
don't watch television almost, period, so.
That's not a bad thing. So my priority would be capital. And that's,
No, we need to get that sorted.
Yes, we
because
do.
to your point, you can't really look at the budget as a whole until you know, are we buying a $193,000 truck? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? I mean, some stuff, like the school stuff, is what it
Yes.
is.
So I'll just, I can email Mike Gore and find out if he has a sense of his timeline, the capital planning committee's timeline. And then,
I think that's a good idea,
Yeah, we
not
can-
to be, just give us a heads up on what we can expect, so we can plan our meetings accordingly.
yeah, because we have a meeting scheduled next Tuesday, but I don't know that we have anything specific on the agenda.
I know, that sounds like I wonder if it's worth meeting, because I don't know what you guys have,
Yeah.
Well, we have to.
unless you can get fire back, but Brad won't be here either.
Oh, Brad won't be here next week either, that's right. And I don't know. John, I have not had we didn't have a chance to do the deep dive.
Right, and I know Brad had a bunch of questions for him too, and I
Brad
don't know
did,
if they've
and I
spoken.
had sent him a whole list of questions. And so we'll see. And
Right.
we'll keep.
Because you're not gonna meet,
Oh, this is this year's?
yeah,
Oh, that's
so you've got, where are we? So February 6th, maybe, I don't know. So this is school vacation, the
Oh,
20th.
yes.
So the 13th and the 27th.
13th and the 27th, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're already into March.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
I know, it's like, it happens fast.
Okay.
I mean, maybe by the 13th, we'll have some of these, I don't think health insurance yet. Maybe dispatch?
All right, well, I think the next thing we have is the transfer requests.
Oh, it also said discussion regarding our statement,
Yes.
but I don't think that.
I don't think we really can't do that when there was few of us. But we did have questions at one point about the legal. I don't know if this
We
does.
do have some supporting information that
We do.
not have here before.
Right.
So, on the subject of the transfer requests, I actually had a couple messages with Don Lowe about this,
Oh, good.
which I can share with you. So, the backup that he provided in terms of like the breakdown about which matters, the money's being spent on, that is a level of detail that he's gonna make it a standard practice to provide
Oh, that's great.
going forward. And I just did like a very, very quick analysis of the bills that we got. So we're getting it, what's reflected in our packet is a total of just north of $11,000. But because of the remainder in the budget, they're only seeking a transfer of $8,800.
Okay.
And of what's in our packet, like 40% is attributable to litigation type matters. 50% is attributable to just like general town council stuff. And then the other 10 is like labor/audit response. And Don
The other
said
10 is what?
labor, and then like labor issues, labor
Oh,
issues.
like advice.
They're
Yeah.
contract negotiations.
Contract
Okay.
negotiations, yeah.
Contract
Right, I saw that was
for
in.
review, whatever.
Right.
And then stuff related to an audit response. And Don said he would be able to provide this type of spend breakdown probably like twice a year.
That's good. That's very useful.
Yeah.
So, just help me understand, this is January. So, this is the annual the budget for this year is 14901.
No, 40,000.
40,000, okay, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong line. So the question is,
So
how
we're
much is
out.
spent to date? They've zeroed
We
it out?
have like 2,000 left.
Yep.
Yeah. So after you make this transfer, we'll have 0. So
Exactly.
you'll be doing this every month, essentially.
Yep.
Do they have any expected run rate for the balance of the year?
And it could be another 50,000. Easy, right? I mean, maybe
I mean,
30.
I would expect that the bylaw analysis stuff and the town meeting stuff that's gonna happen between now and May 1st would probably cost at least $10,000 to $20,000.
And Mr. DePietro thing is still going on, I see. How long is that?
I don't know. A year? Maybe?
At least.
At least.
Brian, having a legal background, is it customary to have an invoice that just has a dollar amount? To me, it's like for the same money. There's no hours, there's no breakdown of, senior lawyers and clerks, and, it's just a
They may not have provided that. in-
dollar services. I don't know what a 6.51 disbursement is. But I mean, there's no way to kind of feel like, did they really do that much work? I mean, we couldn't sit here and make that judgment, but people close to the activity could say, yeah, that was.
I believe the actual bill has the breakdown of the
Yeah.
hours. I
This
think that's
says
just the summary
invoice summary,
sheet.
so there's a really an
Yeah.
invoice.
Yeah,
and this is
exactly.
There's a
summary.
detailed summary sheet that accompanies the bill.
Right. So we can't get the detailed invoice because it's detailed.
Oh, a lot of details.
I don't know if that's private matters.
I think a lot of
I
them.
mean, there's really nothing to judge.
Well, but I
it's
mean-
interesting.
But from my perspective, so I'm interested in trying to track over the course of a year what percent of our legal budget is litigation, because we do have a law committee that has some role in managing that portion. I don't think the law committee has authority over the non-litigation portion of the budget. I think that is,
No, they don't.
That's up
At
to the
least
town
the way
administrator.
Don explained it to
So-
us, it does.
and I don't think it's our role to try to do that either, but at least we could then ask the law committee about the, roughly 40% of the budget that
Yeah.
they have some involvement with.
Considering this is February, so what, 2/3 into the fiscal year, we're out of money.
Well, these are only January's bills.
Yeah, this is
So
the
you'll
end of
have-
December.
So, yeah,
So it's
February,
worse.
March, April, May. Yeah, you have 5 months left.
Have you seen these properly prepared invoices or
I have.
not? I mean, if they exist and everybody's
I've
okay
seen
with
them.
them, that's fine.
They exist.
So there's a lot of detail?
Yeah,
That's
they have hours, a summary of what they discussed, a rate.
okay.
Yeah.
Like a normal legal bill.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the concern would always be to me is if we are so far overspent, should we go back and look at the legal,
But we did up it
Why?
this year.
only by
For
10,000,
19. Wow.
big deal.
Yeah, but there's some years that it's 30, so I think 10 is a good,
It's
It's just
you can't.
staring into a crystal ball.
Yeah, exactly. You
There's
can't-
no way you can tell.
But if we track it and law committee gets the reward and water, maybe we can bend the curve.
well, hopefully once this pending litigation goes away, it's just normal legal stuff.
Okay. I move that we transfer $8,865.78 from the reserve fund to, where's it going to?
151,
Oh, to 151-500 purchase of services,
yeah, 5,200, yeah.
5,200. Is that?
Yeah, she forgot the 2.
Oh, yeah, I don't know where the 2 is.
Okay.
It should be
So it goes to
5,200. Yes.
151-5200.
There's a space there, that's weird.
Whoa. All right, that's the motion.
Do I hear a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. I declare the transfer request approved. Now, there's a form we have to fill out in
Yeah,
triplicate?
Joe, you being the chair, you better fill
Yes.
out some of this down here.
But I
I
don't
think
know.
it's the votes and
Is there a...
Date of the meeting, number present and voting.
Right.
you have to sign it.
But this is a copy. Do we have
I
an
think
original?
that'll work.
Maybe-
I think that's it.
Maybe Connie's has the,
Oh, probably, because she's, yes, maybe. No, it looks the same.
Everybody's got a copy.
Take the copy.
Oh, it may be in, it may be in.
No, it's not there, no.
If your signature's original, it'll
And it's minutes.
Yeah, it's only
Those are
going to me,
minutes.
so.
Yeah,
So just sign it.
All right.
and put the two in.
I know
If
you
want a
did
blue
it.
pen, you have to have a blue pen to show that it's real.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
that's good. And where do I put the, oh, the 2 is 5002?
5200.
Oh, 52, okay. There we go. And,
Date of meeting, 1/30/18,
all right.
4 present.
Are present. And it's voted in the sum of 11,751.
no, sorry, I think the transfer was that amount.
It's 8,000.
Yeah, the
something.
8,000.
Ooh.
Take back that
8865.
All right.
You need a new form?
I don't think so.
Just 8865?
Well, you have to
I'll initial it.
initial your erasure. and-
Yeah.
Good thing I gave him a blue pen, huh?
Right.
You got 4 OSs, 3.
Now, do we all have to sign these? I can't remember.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'll take it. if-
You have all the power.
Ah, God, it's going on my head.
Careful, careful.
Now, the next order of business are the minutes. Which, since I
You don't
was...
need me, right?
No, we don't need to, thank you.
We need you all the time,
Thank you.
right? For this minute,
Not
no.
for this one.
Do you have a master copy to initial?
I don't know whether
We
I
just
will
take a
initial it
motion.
or
So, but
not.
here's the problem, there's only 3 of us that can approve it,
Right, I wasn't there.
Oh, then we'll just hold on to it.
and I don't know that,
We probably ought to just...
I feel like we should just wait until.
Let's wait.
You may want to get these 3, get the 3 initials. You can harvest as much as you can today. and
Okay.
then- And then
Sure.
just keep them, and you never know.
All right,
It says draft on it, though.
right.
Well, it becomes, the draft goes away after it's...
If you want us to just initial up here and then send it.
Yeah, why don't you just put your initials in the date?
What is today's date?
30th?
That's
30th.
38.
Okay. Great, thanks. And I think we should hold off on the statement for town meeting because...
We are so not written
Yeah, we need to
already.
read it and digest it.
Right.
So is there any new business?
Is there any new business? I don't think so.
New business? So I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.
Turn off the.
Turn off the...
Good night.
Thank you, good night.